Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1457 of our daily content grind. We gotta put Transformers away today. In fact, Transformers might not be appearing on Sundays for a while. So, last night was the debut of Kamen Rider Zeztz. And for the very first time, we had a simulcasted Kamen Rider series. We told Toei, take a note from Subaraya, who have seen great success with Ultraman just by simulcasting official subtitles for a US audience. And thankfully, that's exactly what they did. We have now had our very first taste of an officially adapted English Kamen Rider that was airing live as it aired in Japan. Globally, we as Kamen Rider fans all got to watch the birth of a brand new series that was designed for a global audience, and we all got to watch it at the same time. Or you watch it on one of the countless reruns that have been going on their channel ever since last night. And we got to talk about that in a little bit too. So, I really want to support this effort. I really, really do, because I really want this to continue. So, we might be doing weekly episode recaps and reviews. I don't know. If you're looking for a reaction, I'm not doing reaction content because I can't risk the strike from Toei. No, we are just going to be taking a look at some screen caps and giving my thoughts on the overall series. But this is episode 1, meaning we need to get characters out of the way. So let's take a look at our main hero, Baku. Now, I do like what they're doing with this character. So in his dreams, he is the hero, and genuinely just dreams of just like being the super cool, super suave spy guy. And I kind of love that, and I feel like it's something you can relate to at most ages. I don't think this is just something that like kids can, kids dream of being a hero that helps people. And that's what a Kamen Rider message sends. But I think a lot of people, me included, I will fully admit, wish that we could be somebody that could just help more people. To have that in your dream. In your dreams, like, you're the hero. You are saving people. You are like the talk of the town type. And that's kind of cool to see visualized, it's relatable. I like it. And I like the spy motif is cool. Like, the first scene was like freaking weird, where I'm watching this guy who I know is going to be my lead Kamen Rider, and he's just whipping a gun around a room shooting people. That's not, now they make it clear it's like rubber bullets, so no one's getting killed, even in a dreamscape. So it's a cool way to start. It's a super cool start to a Rider series. Now, if you know it's a dreamscape going in, it does take a little out from it. And there are some really weird elements that inform you, yeah, this is a dream. This is happening in a dream. But yeah, the spy stuff is going to be fun. The spy aspect of this is going to be fun. Which, by the way, here's a little bit of trivia. Right now, he is holding what we believe to be a Walther P-38. Yes, that's the same gun as G1 Megatron. So, in Japan, that is known as an actual spy weapon. Because there's a TV series from the 70s called The Man from U.N.C.L.E. that apparently had such a following in Japan, Takara went ahead and licensed the show and released an official version of their Walther P-38 that was seen in the series, with the scope, the silencer, and the ankle stock. AKA all the parts you know from G1 Megatron. Those came from a famous version of the gun that's known in Japan to be the weapon of a spy. So this is a deep cut. This is a deep cut reference I actually appreciate. But, so we also see that Baku in his real world experiences is not the best. He is, again, he's relatable because it's just like he's just this common schlub who's just looking for extra work, So, just dreaming of being something bigger. You can definitely tell there's a hero's journey that's going to happen here where he will get to be something bigger, maybe not even like outside of being a Kamen Rider. I don't think this is going to be like, I I don't feel like this is going to be like Eiji, where like at the end of the series, he just kind of walks off with his underwear and a stick, just like, no time had passed. No, he has this drive to help people. You can see it in this episode, where he's trying to entertain a little girl, out, at the, I guess, unemployment office, or the Japanese equivalent. No, and it's a good character. Like I'm looking forward to seeing it. Like it's good to see just like a pure hero going on, right? I do like the little things that are going on. There's only little small goofy elements. Like you can tell they're trying to make this cool and a lot more serious, so a global audience and a US audience can enjoy it more. So yeah, like he's got this little hair flip thing that happens to him in the dream world, and it's informative. Like, yes, it's a goofy little thing, and I'm sure they're gonna come up with some like comic relief way of like introducing it. Sento from Build had something similar. But this, I feel like it also informs you that even though he is very strong in lucid dreaming, there are elements he can't control. And that tells you a lot about what is happening in the dream side of this world, where not everything is under his control, even when he realizes it's a dream, and even though he's very good at shaping that dream to what he wants. So I'm very curious where the character is going to go. He's a good hero type. Some of the side casts, obviously, we don't get as much time with, so it's going to be like jury's out until we get a few more episodes in on them. So Minami is playing the responsible younger sister role, which is interesting to see. She's more just concerned about her brother and just more concerned about him taking things more seriously and, pulling his weight, as it were. So typical sibling stuff. We've seen this. If you haven't seen this in a Kamen Rider series, you've seen this in an anime series. As usual, there's no love interest immediately. He doesn't have a girlfriend established. He also doesn't have any parents that we've heard mentioned. He's living on his own with his sister. That's it. So we didn't get to see much of her outside of just establishing just her basically trying to watch after him, like being her brother's keeper, as it were. Because whenever he gets in trouble, it's pretty clear that she's the one that has to kind of come clean things up or scrape him off the pavement once in a while. Or bring him home from the hospital. That's a thing. That's a thing. We'll get into that too. We'll get into that once we start talking like overall plot. I just fear that she's one of those roles that might get lost in the shuffle. So I hope that she actually does have things to do as the series goes on, rather than just like doting over everything that goes wrong with her brother. We have a pair of characters who are going to be playing off each other for a good bit of this series, I feel. Yep. So yeah, this is Natsuka. She is our Tokyo Police Paranormal Affairs Division officer. It's fun to think that Tokyo Police have a Paranormal Affairs Division, which tells me that, yeah, this is probably acknowledging the main Kamen Rider canon, because at this point, yes, they would have some kind of special division for all of the paranormal stuff that is going on all the time. So it's fun to see that. It's clear that she is new to town. So she's just now learning all the weird incidents and things that are happening here. And she is in the position of the skeptic, which is interesting considering she's from Paranormal Affairs, but she's not the biggest believer. She does not believe in like the claims of what's going on in this town. That is from our detective here. So Tetsuya here is going to be probably our first, according to how this episode ends, probably our first confidant that knows who Kamen Rider Zeztz is and knows who Baku is. But he is the one who believes in what is going on. He's the one who tells us the term nightmares for our monsters. Appropriate for dreaming, kind of on the nose, let's be honest. Kind of obvious for a Kamen Rider series that happens within dreams. But you know what? I will take it. I'll take it. It works. He feels like he's going to be a fun character. So none of these characters feel like they're going to be like the goofball. One of the things I can't stand in a Kamen Rider series is when they shoehorn in a comic relief character who is there to do nothing except make kids laugh, because I don't think they even succeed at that. If you ask me who my least favorite character in the Kamen Rider series is, it's usually Shunpei from Wizard, because he serves absolutely no purpose other than to just tell cringe jokes. That's it. But no one really hits that mark here. Tetsuya comes close in that I feel like he's going to be like almost like somewhat of an expert, because he's been researching and investigating all these paranormal, mysterious cases that have been happening in the city. But also at the same time, he feels like he has just like a little bit of, not comedy, but more of a lightheartedness that's going to be in that character. Just, I don't know. I just get that vibe a little bit, that he's going to be like the less serious one. Could be wrong on that. But I like him so far. I feel like he's going to have this interesting dynamic with Baku once things are good. Almost like a reverse of Detective Conan, where the detective is the one doing the hiding, so that the kid he's allied with, Baku in this case, can go do the actual work that needs to be done. So, like, covering up for when Baku needs to go into dreams and clear up a nightmare. Okay, so who we got next? We have a side character named Nem. Nem is like the commercial idol of Japan, or at least of this town. You could see her literally in the background of every shot of just posters on, department store windows, on commercials playing on TV. She is described as a character that everyone has dreamed about. So obviously, Baku also dreams of her. She appears in his dreams. But she's part of the main cast. So in those dreams, because they specifically made her character point being everyone dreams of this, celebrity, which means not Nem in the dreams is all going to be different people's interpretations of her. So she could be a little bit different every time we see her. She's going to be in different roles every time we see her. I'm going to be fascinated by what the actress can do, because she might not always be a damsel in distress. Sometimes she might be an ally. Sometimes she might also be a secret agent. Sometimes she might be the villain. You don't know. It's going to be fun depending on what the writers decide how she's going to appear in the dream. That said, I also get this vibe that Nem is going to be a lot more significant than it initially appears. It feels like she's on the surface going to be just a character who just keeps showing up in the dreams, and she's different every time because everyone dreams of her in a different way, and it's just kind of a fun recurring thing. But we have this scene. So at some point, Baku gets pulled out of his dreams into his subconscious, and we see this. And I'm actually willing to bet that this is also Nem. If we are actually playing with this idea that nightmares are real and have actual supernatural powers and can threaten the real world, if we are playing with this idea, because we've seen that their powers do affect the real world, like when Baku's being attacked, by the gun nightmare, he literally gets floated out of his bed like a horror movie. I get the vibe that because so many people dream of Nem, that she might actually be a far more powerful, even sentient, independent figure in the dreamscape. Could be off on that, but I almost feel like it's in the same vein of, like, in Dungeons and Dragons, deities and gods exist because so many people believe in them that they gain that strength. Japanese mythology works with its gods in a similar manner. The more belief they have behind them, the stronger they are. This might have a similar effect, where there is a dream version of Nem that is an ally to Zeztz, because she is dreamed about so much she has gained her own being within the dreamscape. Just a guess here, but I feel like she's going to be a lot more important than they're letting on. Otherwise, she's just a cameo the whole series. We have Commander Zero, who was part of Baku's dreams, but now is also going to be the one giving him his missions. actually treating him like the agent number 7 that he dreams himself to be, and also very vague and mysterious. We have no idea who this is, and that's probably going to last for a long time. He speaks entirely in English, and not even with an accent. Clean English. I don't think that's coincidental. Everything around Zeztz is designed to work with a global audience, specifically a US audience. So that's why dreams, because dreams are much more relatable. Everyone has dreams. Everyone has nightmares. The spy motif is kind of a universal thing. The UK's got James Bond, obviously. But also it's a popular theme over here in America, too. It's a popular theme in Japan. It works everywhere. But you also have the motifs of Zeztz, who is designed to be, like a new take on Ichigo. He's designed after Kamen Rider number 1. Even his bike looks similar to the original bike. So this is really designed to be a global series. And I feel like having a character who speaks completely in English is not by accident. I also feel like having a catchphrase that is in English is not by accident. I feel like this makes me feel like Toei took all the feedback that we had over their initial rollout of Zeztz, or of Kamen Rider in general, to the US. Took all that and went, okay, let's just start from the ground up and get it right. And we'll make a series that will simulcast and actually connect to the US audiences in different ways, like this. And I get that, and that's perfect. That's what they needed to do here. So this has me excited. It feels like they're paying attention. It feels like they're actually trying to make this work in a very legitimate way, rather than just throwing something out there like they did before. This tells me we're getting much better stuff this time. And then there's this guy. So this is Nox, and Nox is going to be our villain, at least for the interim. He doesn't strike me as like final villain material. He strikes me as someone who's like going to be insignificant, or has to change up like halfway or 3/4 of the way through the series. He doesn't strike me as final villain type, but he's definitely doing something with the nightmares, and we see him in the real world affecting other things going on. And he is very aware of nightmares and the dream world, etc. We actually see him just before this happens. So something that they emphasize in this show is that every time Baku tries to help somebody, every time he tries to save someone's life, come to someone's rescue, in this case, a girl was getting kidnapped, so he ran out to try and stop that, and got hit by a car that had no driver. Among other things that have happened to him when trying to save someone's life, he has been hit by lightning, and he has been attacked by a shark. And this just follows him throughout his entire life, apparently. This is why Minami worries about him so much, because this keeps happening. Her brother's going to get himself killed just in bad luck. Or is it good luck, because he never actually gets killed by any of this? It's something, it's almost played as a gag in a weird way. Because it's very over the top. It's like, well, he's been hit by lightning, hit by a car, and attacked by a shark. Good on you. But they don't throw things in like this just as a gag, just as out of nowhere. There's going to be something to this. There is going to be something to this in the greater plot, almost in a vein of like Nox or someone else in the real world might actually be aware of Baku and whatever he may actually be in the dream world someday. Because his lucid dreaming is so powerful, it might pose a threat to the nightmares, Nox, or whoever is behind them. So all of this stuff that's been following him his entire life might actually be the nightmares, or whatever's behind the nightmares, trying to kill him before he gains the ability to kill them. That's the vibe I am getting, that this is not an accident. This is not a running gag. This is intentional. Someone is out to get him because he might just be like a major threat to them if he's allowed to continue his lucid dreaming and apparently the connections he has now made to become Zeztz. Which I guess this is when we talk about Zeztz itself. I mean, it's a super cool design. Like, I think they did a better job modernizing this version of Ichigo than they have some of the previous ones. You can tell it's not like overtly design. It is very much in the same similar style, but modernized, but it's still his own thing. You know, I can look at him and go, I can see the connection, but he still looks like him, right? I'm going to take a while to get used to the belt on the chest. That's going to be weird. Just, it's not the belt on the chest that looks weird. It's seeing no belt around his waist that's weird. I almost feel like that's a later on thing, like his final form might not even involve the driver on his chest. Like he might gain just like a belt driver he wears at the same time. But still, I do like the overall look. The fight went really, really well. I do like how the fight scene was choreographed in this one. So they've got the good people working on that too. That's great. I like seeing how much light up they did on the suit, because sometimes they do the light. They tease the light up gimmick in the trailers, and then they never really use it, or that never looks good. Looked good here. Glad they used it. Also, another effect I'm really happy about. This is something you don't do as often, but I love when they do it. I love when the monsters have a unique way of dying. I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of just explosion for the sake of explosion. I like when the monsters have something unique going on. So in this case, they kind of burst into these I don't know, like glowing sand thing. In this case, like a little they all all those little sparkles convalesced into a butterfly and flew off. So I like that imagery. I like that it's doing something other, like the Fangires. Like the Fangires turning back into stained glass and shattering. That's way cooler than just like a big gasoline explosion. You know, I like that. It's characterful. It tells me something different's going on. And I like it. I like it a lot. It's going to be real hard getting used to hearing them say impact. For those who don't know, I have a VTuber persona that's Kamen Rider based. His forms are called impacts. Shares more than one similarity design-wise, actually. It's a little bit freaky. Like somewhere a year or two ago, me and Toei were cooking at the same time. We just happened to hit on the exact same dream. You know how that works. Either way, it's just funny to me. It's funny coincidental stuff. Oh well. I'll tell you other design stuff that works. Oh my god, the monster looks cool. I like how it takes elements of what he was dreaming about and kind of turning them against him. So, the big thing in this episode was the shootout in the first scene. So, yeah, to turn the gun into the gun nightmare, very appropriate. And I kind of hope that's the theme throughout the series, where something that either kicks off the plot or an aspect of the episode becomes the nightmare that he has to fight. That would be a really cool way of tying it in, because that's kind of how dreams work. They take those little bits of your memory and throw them in, you know? In recent memory can do that as well. And also, yeah, it's a cool design. It's a really cool design. I'm going to really like the monster design work in this show. Speaking of, we touched on this a little bit, but we can keep going. I love how they handled the dreams in this series. As he is trying to escape the gun nightmare, he's dropping between different familiar locations. He'll be in the hospital in one shot, go through a door and take a tumble. And when he stands up in the tumble, he's back in his bedroom. And that's how a dream works. You know, he has this acknowledgement of it happening, but he still keeps going with it as if this is, just the way things are. That's how dreams work. I thought in general, they did a really, really good job of just conveying dreams. It's one thing I'm worried about budget-wise. I feel like this is so expensive to do. They can only break this out once in a while. I feel like things are going to be simplified, or things are going to have to happen more in the real world to try to not blow the budget of the whole series, or make the editing take so long that they can't get the whole, they can't get everything out. That kind of fear. But I'm commending them for just doing a really good job of making it feel like he was in a dream. To the point where yeah, things like, okay, he fell in water, etc., like familiar dream tropes. And here's a cool thing. When he realizes he's dreaming, he immediately snaps into Agent 7 mode. And that's cool to see. Don't know, it's really cool to see that like his lucid dreaming is that quick. But he's still not in control. The nightmare still has more control over the dream than he does, which still makes him vulnerable unless he's Zeztz. But once he lost control, he started getting injured, he falls into water, and he's soaking wet for the next scene. But when he starts to like regain some confidence and exert himself again, he's immediately dry. He doesn't have as much damage on him anymore. Like, things that like really in other series it would come across as like a continuity error or like a glitch in production. Here it is entirely intentional to convey when he's got control and when he does not, and it's a really, really cool touch. It's subtle, it's easy to miss, but it's a really cool touch that they did it. Also, I am just really looking forward to explaining how the dream stuff is coming into the real world. Because, okay, Zero is giving him messages through his little communicator while he's awake. And the communicator that he got in the dream exists in the real world. The belt is still on his chest when he wakes up in the hospital. How does this stuff make it from the dream to reality? And can it go the other way? Because I feel like at some point, stuff has to be happening in the real world too. He has the belt in the real world. So I feel like at some point, yeah, like nightmares are going to escape the dreams. That might be like mid-season just to indicate they're getting more powerful. Or there might be situations where like he has like the dream, like the nightmare does escape the dream and the fight has to move to the real world. And I have to assume that fights in the real world will happen eventually in this series, if only for the CGI budget and the budget of like remote filming just getting out of hand, right? At some point, just to keep all that stuff under control, I feel like real world fights are going to have to be a thing. But don't know when that will happen. I just feel like it will eventually, especially because we do need a team up. We do need these writers to team up for a summer movie or a special episode or something eventually. So at some point, yeah, he's got to have real world interaction, right? But I'm super curious how they get there. You know, what happens when a nightmare does make it to reality? Is Nox a nightmare? And what is he, you know, how is he like controlling or creating? It's got a lot of like, I wonder. And that's what you want out of a new Kamen Rider series. You want a lot of those like, I wonder how this, I wonder how that, I wonder. That's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. Is that all that stuff that makes you go, I want to know where this is going. I'm super curious. The show itself is really, really good. Toei feels like they started from the ground up, making a series that they were planning to simulcast to the world. And they did a fantastic job of it, I think. I think it's a really, really strong start to a Kamen Rider series. So, that's for the most part my thoughts, my review of everything in that episode. I've gone on longer than the episode went on because I like to be analytical about these things. I like to pick things apart and talk about them so we can appreciate them in greater detail. So this is probably going to be a Sunday thing where we'll just be talking about the new episode, especially if you guys like this. They will be far shorter, because they will not be introducing the entire cast of characters each episode. So we'll be able to talk about it in chunks. So that's the plan right now, at least. For now, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought of Zeztz in the comments below. Looking forward to hearing what people thought of the new writer. And of course, I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.